Imagine this. You wake up at 5 a.m. for the third straight week, guzzle your kale smoothie, and grind through another hour of meditation before your productivity tracker even blinks green. You've optimized your diet, your sleep, your mindset, every measurable inch of your life. Yet here you are, staring at your reflection in the black mirror of your phone screen, hollowed out by a question you can't voice aloud. Why do I feel worse than when I started? This is the paradox of modern self-improvement. The more you chase perfection, the more it devours you. You've turned yourself into a personal development machine, inputting discipline, outputting progress, only to discover the machine has no off switch. The books promised happiness, the gurus guaranteed fulfillment, but all you've harvested is a new kind of exhaustion, one that wears the mask of enlightenment. Consider the evidence. That 5% body fat came with a side of orthorexia. Your unshakable morning routine now feels like a prison sentence. The productivity hacks that were supposed to free your time have colonized it. You've become a casualty of your own optimization. And the cruelest joke? You've volunteered for this. This is the great question we must confront. What if self-improvement isn't saving you, but sabotaging you? Not in the obvious ways, not through laziness or lack of effort, but through something far more insidious, the commodification of your humanity. You've been sold a lie that you are a problem to be solved, a project to be managed, a stock to be traded on the market of betterment. Every unchecked box on your habit tracker isn't just a missed task, it's a withdrawal from your self-worth. Think back. When did growth become synonymous with punishment? When did becoming your best self start feeling like a court-ordered rehabilitation program for the crime of being human? The answer lies in the shadow of the $10 billion self-help industry, where your insecurities are the product and your exhaustion is the price tag. But here's what's even more unsettling. This isn't an accident. The system depends on your perpetual dissatisfaction. A truly content person doesn't buy the next course, the next supplement, the next life-hacking app. So the bar of self-improvement must always stay just out of reach, turning you into Sisyphus with a Fitbit, pushing your boulder up an algorithmically inclined mountain. And yet you can't stop, because buried beneath the spreadsheets and step counts lies your deepest fear. What if I'm not evolving? What if I'm just circling? That terror is the engine of this machine. It's why you'll watch this video while multitasking your meal prep. It's why you've bookmarked 3 more life-changing articles before finishing this paragraph. The possibility that you might be chasing a phantom is more terrifying than any burnout. So let me ask you, when was the last time you rested without guilt? What parts of yourself have you abandoned in the name of growth? Who would you be if you stopped treating yourself like a startup? The answers won't be in any productivity hack. They're waiting in the blind spot of the self-improvement industrial complex, the place we're about to expose. Because the dark side of betterment isn't just stealing your time, it's erasing your soul. 2. The hidden problem and its psychological/philosophical roots. The self-improvement trap doesn't begin with apps or influencers. It begins in your nervous system. Every time you set a goal, your brain releases dopamine. Every time you fail to meet it, cortisol floods your veins. This isn't motivation, it's chemical warfare. And you're both the soldier and the battlefield. The neuroscience of never enough. Your basal ganglia, the brain's habit center, has been hijacked. What started as genuine growth has become a compulsion, where the chase for better triggers the same neural pathways as a gambler pulling a slot machine. The high no longer comes from achievement, but from the anticipation of it. This is why crossing goals off your list feels hollow, while the next unstarted goal fills you with electric urgency. You're not addicted to growth. You're addicted to the gap between where you are and where you think you should be. The industrialization of enlightenment. The 20th century birthed a monster, the commodification of human potential. Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends, 1936, didn't just sell advice. It sold the idea that personality was software to be upgraded. By the 21st century, Silicon Valley completed the corruption. Your worth became measurable in biohacks. Your value reduced to ROI on self-investment. Even spirituality got optimized. Meditation apps track your mindfulness minutes like corporate KPIs. Philosophers saw this coming. Nietzsche warned of last men who would blink in the bright sun of constant improvement. Huxley's Brave New World predicted Soma-like positivity cults. Fromm called it marketing orientation, where you experience yourself as a product to be branded. The trauma of perfection. Beneath every grinding self-optimizer lies an unhealed wound. For some, it's childhood conditional love, I'll be worthy when. For others, it's capitalist survival instinct, rest is falling behind. The common thread, self-rejection disguised as self-mastery. You've internalized the voice of a cruel taskmaster and mistaken it for your own. Consider the 5 a.m. club adherent who's just recreating his abusive father's boot camp discipline. The keto evangelist punishing her body for childhood shame. The productivity guru monetizing his ADHD hyperfocus as a virtue. This isn't growth, it's repetition compulsion with better marketing. The spiritual bypass. Modern self-help has become the new opium of the masses. Instagram gurus sell manifestation as cosmic capitalism, where your vibes attract wealth like algorithmic SEO. Toxic positivity gaslights you. The ancient Greeks had a word for this: hubris, the sin of trying to outsmart human limitation. Yet today, it's rebranded as biohacking immortality or quantum leaping to a better reality. But here's what they don't tell you. A tree that grows too fast develops weak roots. Your relentless upward climb is creating psychological osteoporosis, brittle, hollow, ready to snap at the next challenge. The consequences? They're already here. 3. The unseen consequences. The cracks are spreading. That subtle tremor in your hands when you skip a workout. The way your stomach knots when someone asks, "So, what's next for you?" The hollow-eyed stare in the mirror when the motivational affirmations wear off. These aren't signs of weakness, they're the revolt of a soul pushed beyond sustainable limits. The burnout paradox. Your body keeps score in ways your productivity app can't quantify. Chronic cortisol floods have rewired your stress response. You now interpret rest as danger. The insomnia? It's not just too much blue light. It's your nervous system stuck in perpetual growth mode, convinced relaxation might kill you. Studies on overachievers reveal a chilling pattern. Their brains show identical activity to soldiers in combat zones, even during mundane tasks. You've turned self-improvement into a war where you're both the general and the battlefield. The erosion of self. Language doesn't lie. Notice how you've started describing yourself. I'm working on my sleep performance, not I'm tired. I'm optimizing my nutrition inputs, not I'm hungry. I'm doing shadow work on my attachment wounds, not I'm lonely. This isn't evolution, it's dissociation. You've become a stranger in your own skin, speaking in the cold jargon of a corporate merger between your psyche and some self-help guru's sales page. The most tragic casualty? Your ability to simply be without translating the experience into data points for improvement. The social contagion. Your personal development arms race is creating collateral damage. That friend who canceled plans because her boundary framework deemed you not vibrationally aligned? The partner who now rates your conversations on emotional intelligence metrics? This is the dark flowering of optimized living, relationships reduced to mutual improvement projects. Anthropologists identify a new phenomenon: self-help isolationism, where communities fracture as members prioritize personal growth over human connection. The cognitive dissonance. Your brain has developed twisted coping mechanisms. The halo effect, believing your kale smoothie app solves your toxic productivity. Effort justification, defending brutal routines because suffering equals growth. Survivorship bias, mimicking routines of outliers while ignoring their breakdowns. These mental contortions have a purpose: to protect you from the unbearable truth that you might be digging your own grave with golden shovels. The spiritual bankruptcy. Ancient wisdom traditions warned against this. Buddhist monks spend years mastering non-striving. Christian mystics practiced kenosis, the emptying of self. Taoism teaches wu-wei, effortless action. Yet modern self-improvement preaches the opposite: more effort, more control, more optimization. The result? A generation of seekers so busy elevating their consciousness, they've lost the ability to simply experience it. The most dangerous consequence hasn't fully manifested yet, but it's coming. 4. The rebellion. How to break free. The way out is not forward, it's down. Not into more discipline, but into the forbidden territory you've been taught to fear: surrender. This isn't quitting. It's the most radical act of self-preservation you can perform. 1. The anti-goal experiment. For the next 72 hours, stop tracking anything: steps, calories, screen time. Leave one productive task unfinished intentionally. Ask yourself before any action, is this serving me or the algorithm of betterment? This isn't laziness, it's neurological disarmament. You're retraining your brain to value being over benchmarking. Expect withdrawal symptoms, phantom urges to check apps, existential vertigo when the productivity high wears off. This is your psyche detoxing from improvement porn. 2. The shadow integration protocol. Your obsessive growth mindset has a shadow twin, the part of you that wants to destroy all progress. Instead of suppressing it, schedule a self-sabotage hour, eat forbidden food, skip a workout, binge trash TV. Journal the aftermath. What actually happened? Did the world end? Or did you discover forbidden pleasure in imperfection? This exercise isn't about regression, it's about restoring psychological democracy. A self that's allowed to sometimes not improve stops rebelling through burnout. 3. The anti-productivity manifesto. Rewrite your personal code with these heresies. Good enough is a sacred state. Relapse is data, not failure. My worth exists independent of my output. Pin this where your vision board used to be. When the old conditioning screams you're falling behind, respond with the ultimate rebellion. Prove it. Or the ritual of unmeasurement. Once a week, engage in an activity with no quantifiable outcome, cloud watching, finger painting, nonsense poetry. Forbid yourself from sharing or documenting it. Notice where in your body you feel resistance. That's where your freedom is buried. This isn't self-indulgence, it's cognitive counterterrorism against the internalized surveillance state of perpetual improvement. The final truth? It's simpler and more shocking than you imagine. 5. The ultimate truth, the final, most powerful realization. The most dangerous lie self-improvement ever told you was that you needed to be fixed. Here's the truth that will unravel everything. You were never broken. Not when you ate the cookie. Not when you skipped the gym. Not when you chose rest over hustle. The entire industry of betterment depends on you believing in your own inadequacy. Because a person at peace doesn't buy courses, supplements, or life-hacking apps. The liberation equation. Freedom isn't found in another system, but in recognizing your flaws are often just your humanity, the parts that make art, love, and spontaneity possible. Growth happens despite control, not because of it, like forests that regrow after fires without productivity journals. The most profound transformations occur when you stop trying to transform. Ask anyone who's fallen in love or created great art. The sacred ordinary. The miracle isn't in the 4-hour workweek or the 5 a.m. routine. It's in the unmeasured breath between tasks, the unplanned conversation that changes everything. The moment you realize you're enough right now. This isn't anti-growth, it's post-growth. A realization that life isn't a level to beat, but an experience to have. The final invitation. Close your eyes. Imagine a version of you who never reads another self-help book, who never tracks another metric, who simply lives with curiosity instead of critique. Does that thought terrify or exhilarate you? The answer reveals how deep the programming goes. The cage was open all along. Step out.